Hey guys, Mike here. So we got Thanksgiving week ahead of us, and technically, a lot of people say this is when you're going to see if there's going to be a Christmas rally. It'll start this week, because normally Thanksgiving week is somewhat on the bullish side because it's low volume, and if the trend is already up going in, those low volume weeks can continue to just kind of grind it up. That's what you'll see a lot of times. We will see, actually, when the futures open in just a couple hours, that that's going to be the case, and so we'll see how that one's going. But we'll go into, some stocks like Tesla and Palantir. We'll go into Fintech. I'm really going to dig deep into those for you. A couple other stocks to watch out for when it comes to breaking out, because they're kind of coiling really tight, just like we talked about with Tesla, which of course had its breakout. And then, of course, we'll go into earnings, because we do actually have earnings. And then one day this week is just loaded with data. Remember, the stock market will be closed on Thursday, but it will open up and then close, I believe, at 1 p.m. on Friday. So we're open about 3.5 days this week. By the way, I hope everybody has a great holiday. Let me know in the comments what your plans are and stuff. And I'll also show you the one index that looks the best. We'll actually go into that chart as well, because it just checked a bunch of boxes, and we'll see, because I've showed you these stocks on this index that keep squeezing up. So I'll talk about that one as well and show you what I'm talking about. Don't forget, obviously, I'll bring you this tomorrow. We do got the Black Friday sale going on, and TradingView is going to kick off a little past midnight. Again, 70% off. And yes, the code will count that I'll show you towards your current membership, so you can renew using that. That's what I always do. And so again, one thing I'm going to do, I told you I would talk about this, is for the members, I'm actually going to create a different Discord channel and put it on the Patreon when it comes to TradingView and the basis of how to use certain things, and then just answer their questions. For you guys who aren't a member, what I'm going to do is start putting it in Saturday's video if you have a question about how to chart and stuff, because I was talking to my friend last night and I said, look, there is no reason, if you're a long-term investor, to be sitting there blindly, let me change hands, blindly just throwing money at a stock or stocks that you own on the 1st and 15th anymore. It just doesn't make any sense. Continue to do your thing. But it's like with all the technology now, when you can get it cheap or even some are free, there's no reason, if you don't know in your long-term portfolio when your stocks are coming down to major support levels or trend lines or discount fib levels or major moving averages. There's just no reason not to know the basics. And I implore you, if it's not for yourself, for your children, do it for the children. Like, learn to chart at least your long-term portfolio, so you know when you can get a bigger bang for your buck on when to really go heavy on your dollar cost averaging. I'm telling you, it's not rocket science. Again, regular guy, regular IQ, regular memory. Nothing special going on here, okay? Anyway, so that's that. So let me get into this right here, and we'll start off with two stocks to watch this week, because remember, we're getting these Black Friday specials. So watch Shop and Amazon, okay? Shop is pulled back down right here, tapping into that earnings gap. But again, we got Black Friday specials and everything coming up in all the stores. I'm sure you've got all the spam emails and everything else. And normally these do okay, right, or decent during this time. If it does start to go back up, that makes that higher and low right there, and then watch that trend line up at the top. So it could press into 112, 115-ish, somewhere in there. You look at Amazon here, again, this momentum for both of them just has to turn back up, right? It has to get going. Amazon's definitely been under pressure. If it does turn up, again, you can see if it breaks, actually I need to put a trend line there. Breaks out right there, watch that gap right there above between like 207 to 210 to see if that fills. And, you just got to look back at past Black Friday special weeks. Amazon weeks, it normally does good as well when they have those Amazon Prime days and stuff. But again, you'll see it go green. When I say green, I'm talking about like, anywhere from 2 to 7% or something like that, because it is a short week for the stock market, right? But when you go back, normally you'll get a push up. That right there is like 7.5% right there in a very short amount of time. So watch those two stocks. Obviously, Tesla we talked about right here with this formation. And we said it's going to be a rising wedge breakdown, or you're going to end up getting your flat top breakout. And that's exactly what happened. It exploded up right here. And now you can see we put a trend line right here. It's just kind of grinding right here, looking like maybe it's going to try to push even higher. And so if this theme continues with Tesla and all these other stocks pushing and pushing and pushing, obviously just watch right there. That's where it's going to go to. If it decides to break out this week again, going to 358.69, if that actually does end up breaking, and what we got to figure out is it going to dig into this 4-hour fair value gap right here? Okay, we've seen that multiple times in the past before you get another move up, because it was a really, really nice move up on Friday. And as long as Nvidia stays suppressed, it's a very good odds, right? Because what happened on Friday? Nvidia was red, went down like 3%. And so these two just, for whatever reason, they just can't move together right now. And so you see up here, I'll bring this down to right there, 384.59, somewhere in there would be the target if it gets above that previous high that it set. Now you'll go to Palantir, what's it still doing? It's just sitting there consolidating. Either this is accumulation, distribution at this point in time. We'll just call it consolidation for now because you still never came back down and got a discount. But what is happening is your moving averages are kept catching up, right? I talked about in Saturday's video, that rubber band effect. Well, they're catching up, okay? It's only 108% above the 200 moving average now. And you go back over here and you can see the 50 is closer. You see what it was, you see what it is now. It was 58% above the 50, now only 38%, was 125% above the 200 average, only 100%. So it's allowing them to catch up. And so, and it's building out what? Support. So if it does move higher, that level, that area will be really good support. We're coming back down for a pullback, right? And so, you know, looking at where it can go, if you're looking at like a bullish scenario, we'll pull the fibs up right here. If it does decide to break out of this area, once it's consolidated and gets above that, you know, anywhere from 78.29, 87.82, 93.66, somewhere in those areas. Bearish case scenario, because you just don't know what the market's going to do here. If it does decide to break down, they rotate into something else. You see it come down anywhere around the 0.5 fib, golden pocket, maybe the 50 moves up in that area as well. You got a daily fair value gap. A lot of different confluence in that area if it does decide to come down to get a bounce. And all it will be doing right there is doing what? Setting a higher low. Okay. Now, when it comes to Fintech, I don't think anybody would have guessed SOFI would be leading the way here. But again, 108% move in a very short amount of time. And this isn't some low float, you know, high shorted stock or anything like that, which I'll show you one of those in just a minute. But again, where's it heading to? Could get up to around that 1643, if I'm not mistaken, right there will be your next target. But when you look, you pull up Square, PayPal, just regular Fintechs that aren't low float stocks. And, you know, because everybody talks about PayPal and stuff, Square hadn't even really, it keeps trying to break out, right? It hadn't had its breakout moment yet. So SoFi's had its breakout moment. PayPal had it a while back. Upstart's had it, Affirm. Square is still waiting. And when you look, SoFi's outperformed them since August. You look year to date, SoFi's outperformed both of those. Right now, if Square gets its breakout moment, that might be different. And, you know, here's the benefit of owning a low float, high shorted stock. When you look at Upstart, it obviously has crushed all of them. I mean, this thing has just been flying off the charts and maybe setting up for another move. And again, it's up 90% during this time. I got on here year to date versus 60% for SoFi. And then 168% since August. Good Lord. And SoFi is up 108. And when you look over here at Upstart, you can see it's basically breaking above and trying to retest that level. To the left right there, you can see it's set in July of 2023. And then when we try to zoom in on this thing, you can see it can absolutely break out even higher. And if it does, it's in this formation, right? And it's a momentum stock, right? This thing can go to 85 pretty easily. And the reason why, if you don't know anything about Upstart or anything, I've showed you this before, it's one of those Fintechs that is a very low float, high shorted stock. And if you zoom in here, what I mean about low float, 78 million shares and its float right there. I don't think that's still the current short interest, but it is definitely a highly shorted stock. And so when they start to squeeze, that's why this thing just goes on squeezes and such big moves that you don't see in PayPal or Square. And, you know, SoFi's done pretty well with it, but Upstart has 20 to 30% moves in one day. Okay, big difference, big difference. Now, another stock to watch is Oxy, and there's a couple other oil stocks sitting there like this. So if oil does get a bid, you know, this could move higher. Obviously, it's coming into support. Historically, this support goes all the way back to 2009 right there. It used to be resistance. And you can see that shade area is where Buffett used to buy all the time. You saw it bounce for almost like a year and a half right there between like 55, 57. Then it broke down below. See that wick right there on that candle? So if you see this break, this trend line heading up, that shaded area is going to be resistance. But that's a good like 7 to 10% move right there. So if oil can catch a bid, and I think it was BP, kind of has the same kind of chart going on, then, you know, you can absolutely see this thing start to take back off. And again, it's oil. I don't expect it to explode and go up to, you know, it's going to go up to 80, 90, nothing like that. But just watch and see if it can make it through that shaded area. Now, Celsius is going to be another one. Somebody asked about this. This is a weekly chart. You see the same thing happen where it cannot break above that trend line. And it looks like on the weekly, stochastics try and get above 50 to turn back around. Again, this is a momentum stock, and you just don't see the momentum in there yet. The bigger question is going to be, because it is coming into that support right there, trend line support and horizontal support at the same time. And it just seems like only if it breaks above that trend line right there, then absolutely this can move up, anywhere from 35 to 48, somewhere in there, if that's the case. And you can see on the daily, obviously the stochastic's moving up. It's getting in that area you want to see. And if that MACD, boy, can get above the 0 line, that's when you're cooking with Crisco on stocks like this. And I showed you so many charts where you got these stocks, they're just beat down. Nothing's changing fundamentally for them, right, in the earnings picture, but they start to push back up. I don't know the short interest of this. And you can see the RSI right there, how it's right there at 50. So if that gets above that 50, all of a sudden you see on the short term right there, bulls starting to take back control, and you can see a move. Doesn't mean it's going back to that all-time high, nothing like that. But you just see these 10, 15, 20% moves in stocks like this. And you can see huge discount too, down below the 0.79 fib. And that's pulling back from the 2022 level where it took off. Now, IWM, of all the indexes, this one looks the best, right? We broke out of this channel. We said if we break out of it, we know we're going to remove that. Right, bullish day on Friday, 4 bullish days in a row. The reason why I say that about it, if you pull down, it came down into support, right? But not only into support, there's a lot of different things that happen here. When it came down, as I showed you, you're looking at 1, 2 rejection, now turning to support, but also came down into a discount, right? So it got down to that golden pocket, almost to the 0.79 fib. As you can see, when we pull up extended trading hours, it also closed the gap. Right, so closed the gap, came down into support right there in a discount window, and now has exploded higher. And so this one right here, and you just see all these other stocks. So these stocks on the Russell continue to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. Obviously, the Russell is going up. As long as the 10-year stays subdued, I think that's one thing you're going to have to see. Then, obviously, yes, we can go back to 240, 243. And then if it decides to break above that, you see the different levels above right there, 244, 248-ish, somewhere in that level right there. And so this is something just to keep an eye on. But when you look at what happened when it came down, that's a lot of confluence. And that's why you're seeing this massive bounce. Now, if it turns over, obviously, what do you know that is? It's a lower high. Okay, but right now, we just got to wait and see what's going to happen for at least the next 2 weeks, if it's a lower high or not. But it does look pretty good right now. When you look over at earnings, you can see very short week, some more high flyers that come to the end of earnings season once again. And you got some interesting ones, some high flyers like Bath and Body Works. Here's Zoom right here coming up. Look over Tuesday, we got more retailers with Abercrombie and Fitch, Kohl's, Best Buy, Macy's, Dick's Sporting Goods, Burlington right there. Then we have Dell, CrowdStrike. There's going to be some big ones to watch out for. Autodesk, HP right there. Urban Outfitters is going to be another one. And then on Wednesday, I don't really see much anything going on. Or Friday and Thursday, obviously the market is closed, so no earnings on that one. And then when you look at the data, it's really one big day. Monday, tomorrow you have nothing. Tuesday, look at this CB Consumer Confidence, new home sales, Richmond Manufacturing Index, but then Wednesday is just loaded, right? So preliminary GDP quarter-over-quarter, unemployment claims, then we come on down to core PCE price index month-over-month, pending home sales, personal income, personal spending, crude oil inventory, natural gas storage, and the FOMC minutes. Woo! Thursday closed, and Friday, Chicago PMI. So it's going to be a fun week to look at right here. We'll see if we get some breakouts. We'll see if we get some green days this week and they continue to grind us higher on low volume or not. And so let me know how you're playing it. Please hit that like, subscribe button on your way out. If you want to sign up for the membership, there it is. Again, I'll get you that discount link for TradingView sale, Black Friday sale that is going on tomorrow. And so I'll see you guys for another fun one tomorrow. Have a good one.